Hi and welcome to the channel. I'm Tim and this is Run Tall. On today's video, I'm going to be comparing two carbon-plated racing shoes. They're both marathon shoes. It's the newly released Nike VaporFly 3 with the Saucony Endorphin Pro 3. Now, I did purchase both of these shoes with my own money. The Nike VaporFly, that's going to cost you or set you back $250 US, and they are the more expensive of the two options. While the Saucony Endorphin Pro 3, now that retails for $225 US. But given that the release of the Saucony Endorphin Pro 4 is just around the corner, if you hold out a little bit, you might be able to find these on sale and save yourself a little bit of money. I did order both these shoes true to size for me, which is a US men's size 9. There is quite a bit of difference in weight with the Nike VaporFly 3. These are super lightweight. They came in at 6.5 ounces on my scales. Awesome. Unbelievably lightweight. Now, while the Saucony Endorphin Pro 3, a little bit heavier, but still a very lightweight marathon shoe option, coming in at 7.5 ounces. But these are 1 ounce lighter, and that's certainly something to consider and to think about. The fit of these, both of these, again, I ordered a US men's size 9, and they fit true to size. I have to say, both of these uppers are some of my favorites. They felt great, both of them, right out of the box. No issues at all when it comes to comfort, but there is a little bit of difference in the fit of the shoes. And I'll start with the VaporFly. Now the VaporFly 3 is super cool on foot, and you can see all of those perforations up in the toe box. So you can literally feel the air flowing through the upper on these shoes. Now they're a little bit wider than the Saucony Endorphin Pro up here in the forefoot of the shoe, especially on the lateral side. So if you tend to have issues with your toes feeling cramped, especially that pinky toe, I think you're going to like the fit of the VaporFly 3 because I didn't have any issues with that at all. Felt super comfortable. Easy to get locked in and secure across the midfoot section of the shoe. I think a lot of that has to do with just how narrow it gets here in the midfoot section, so that upper tends to wrap around your foot, kind of wraps it up like a burrito, but feels really terrific. Locked my heel in place solidly, no heel slippage at all. And there's a fair amount of structure back here in the heel counter too, so especially for a racing shoe. So if you're looking for a little bit of stability in the heel from heel slippage, I think that these do a really great job. They do continue with that offset lacing system, as we've seen in the VaporFly Next Percent 2 version and the previous versions from before that. I've always loved this. Darn it, Nike, why can't you put this upper on the AlphaFly? That upper's kind of garbage to me. You put up with the upper for the ride of the midsole on the AlphaFlies. Nike's capable of putting out a fit of an upper like this. I don't know why they don't continue to do that in other shoes. But anyway, I love the VaporFly 3 and how that fits. Super comfortable. A little bit of padding, and it has a bumper style padding back in the heel collar of the shoe, or back here in the counter of the shoe, around to the heel collar. Feels really good. I think they did a good job. And again, it carries a nice heel pocket for your heel to set in. Super comfortable that way. The tongue on the upper, it's not gusseted. So, sometimes that can be an issue. Not here. It lays flat on my foot. I have no issues putting this shoe on. My foot slides in with relatively no fuss or muss, and I can get it cinched down and secure across the eyelet chain without any kind of pressure from the laces across my top of my midfoot or across my foot there. And they've got just a little bit of padding up here that helps take care of that issue, if that is an issue for you, or it has been in other shoes in the past. They do have places for that heel lock knot. Both shoes do, and I do typically run with that heel lock knot in place on both of these shoes. So super comfortable upper on the VaporFly 3. Again, a little bit wider up here in the forefoot and lots of airflow. Now, with the Saucony Endorphin Pro 3, again, very comfortable upper. I have no complaints at all. Felt great right out of the box. Again, a little bit more narrow maybe on the lateral side of the shoe, but nothing that was concern for me. I didn't get any kind of blisters on my pinky toe. Still felt really terrific. A little less breathable this version, but they do have other versions of the Endorphin Pro out there that are lighter weight, and as far as the upper goes. Now here you can see these kind of darker areas. That's actually thinner material, so that's where you're getting your airflow. So there is airflow here, just not as much as what you get on this version, or not as much as you might get in other colorways. So you know, I think one of you guys commented, and I'll put it up on the screen now, I'll find it later, that your feeling was that Saucony put out a summer version and more of a winter cold weather version, and I think this is the cooler weather version of the shoe. But for me, no issues at all. My feet didn't sweat, and the run, you know, it's getting hot here in Michigan. It'll be in the 80s today. It has been in the 90s, but I'm not running in that high heat. When I get out in the morning, it's still in the 50s, low 60s, maybe 70 degrees. So it's kind of inching up there a little bit. But I didn't have any comfort issues at all in terms of these being, you know, overly hot on my feet. So kudos Saucony, and kudos to Nike. You guys both did a fantastic job with the comfort and the fit of the upper on both of these shoes. Now the Saucony Endorphin Pro, it has a more daily trainer feel to it when it comes to the padding around the heel collar, and you can see that it looks much more like a daily trainer. So they don't have that bumper style padding, but it's still very comfortable, and it does create a nice heel pocket for my heel to set in. So perfect that way. Good lockdown feeling. The tongue is gusseted on the Saucony Endorphin Pro 3, as you can see here, and it lays flat across my foot. It is pretty thin. It does have a little bit of padding up here on the tongue of the shoe to help keep your laces from cutting across the top of your foot and feeling any kind of pressure that way. But very comfortable. Both of these are very comfortable shoes. All right, so let's talk about the midsole ride of these, or the midsole. There are some differences here. Of course, you have their Power Run PB-based foam from Saucony. It has, let me see here. For stack height in the heel, it has 39 millimeters and then 31 millimeters up here. And then they have their Speed Row technology, which is a S-curve carbon fiber plate that runs within the midsole of the shoe. Very soft, lots of comfort there to run in. A bit more stable in the heel, I think, than with the VaporFly 3. It's a little bit wider of a heel, but the forefoot platform is essentially about the same in terms of the width. So if you're looking for a little bit more stability in the heel, I think you might enjoy the Saucony Endorphin Pro just a little bit more. But still lots of energy return. That S-curve carbon fiber plate is really smooth and helps you move through your gait cycle in a very efficient manner. And I found these to be super fun, especially when you're picking up the pace and you're running at that marathon pace. Which for me is right around a 7:40-minute mile when I'm in shape, which I'm not at the moment, but I'm getting there, and I'm getting ready to start a new marathon training block here in a few weeks, so I'm doing some base training. But I did pick up the speed in these to see what they felt like when I stepped on the gas, and they feel really terrific, really fun to run on, and fast. I think I got up to around that 6:12-minute mile pace in these. So pretty decent in terms, for speed for me, and they felt really great that way. Now let's take a look at the VaporFly Next Percent 3. Now here they've got 38 millimeters in the heel and 30 millimeters up in the forefoot. So both shoes have an 8 millimeter offset from the heel to toe. And of course they do have their carbon fiber plate that runs within the midsole of all of that Zoom X foam, which feels really terrific. I don't know exactly what Nike did from version 2 to version 3, but they made some big improvements, at least in my opinion. And the more I run in them, the more that seems to be coming out for me. Super soft on foot. I would say that they're a little bit softer than what we have in the Saucony Endorphin Pro 3. Still feels really terrific. Still get lots of pop off the toe, but it's not a pop like in the AlphaFly where you hit those AirPods and you really feel it. These are a much more smooth ride. They are pretty similar to what we have in the Endorphin Pro 3. Lots of cushion up here in the forefoot shoe. I really like that. And as I mentioned, they're a little bit more narrow here, a lot more narrow in the midsection of the shoe than what we have here. But for me, I feel like, again, I get a bit more of a custom fit around the midfoot section of the shoe because they are a bit more narrow. So if you like a tighter fit, I think that these are really good for the midfoot section. But if you want a little bit looser toe box, then I think you're probably going to like the VaporFly 3 because, again, a little bit wider up in the toe box of the shoe. Bit of a cutout back here. I really enjoy running in these. And so I ran the identical route yesterday in these shoes, and I ran the same route in these today. Picked up the pace in both places within that route to see kind of what they felt like, and I felt as if I was putting about the same amount of effort into both run activities. And the places where I picked up the pace, again, was really the same places in that run. But these did a little bit better. They were a little bit faster. I think I came in around a 6:01 minute mile, something like that. I'll double check that and put it up on the screen for you. But these definitely felt a little bit faster to run in than the Endorphin Pro 3s did. It may have a little bit to do with just how lightweight they felt, and you start to feel the difference in the weight when you get into a little bit later of the miles, and you get up around the 8-9 miles, and these, they hardly feel like you're wearing anything, but you're still getting all that pop off the toe. So overall, I love the comfort of the ride in both of these shoes, but I think that the VaporFly 3 is a little bit faster. I think both shoes are a great marathon shoe option for you. I'm going to give you lots of comfort during that 26.2 miles. But if I was to pick between these two shoes, especially for shorter efforts, maybe for a 5K, I'd definitely go with the VaporFly 3 because to me, it felt faster. Maybe it was just how much more lightweight they are, but goodness, they felt really terrific picking up the pace. These did too, but these felt just a little bit better. So let's flip these over. We'll take a look at the outsole on both of these shoes. You can see that they have rubber in basically the same areas, but there's just a bit more of it here in the Endorphin Pro 3. I think overall, in terms of durability and protecting, all of their lighter foam, the power around PB-based foam and the ZoomX foam, that the Saucony Endorphin Pro wins it here, hands down. And it's going to be a much more durable shoe, without a doubt. I mean, it has an XT900 rubber, and I've got about the same number of miles in each of these shoes. Both of these are new to me, so that's something that I do want to make sure that you understand too. That my last training block, I ran most of my miles in the AlphaFly version 1 and version 2, as well as the Adizero Adios Pro 3. So that's where I really jacked up the miles in all three of those shoes. And I'm looking to start a new training block as I prepare for the Chicago Marathon, New York Marathon, and so I'm evaluating different shoes that I can use for my training in those. And the Saucony Endorphin Pro 3 I think is going to be a terrific shoe to run in because it's going to be more durable. There's no doubt in my mind that I'm going to be able to get 300 miles in these and still be having some comfortable runs and having a lot of fun in them. I think with the VaporFly 3, much like its predecessor, the VaporFly 2, I think I'm going to get lucky to get around that 150, maybe 200 miles. So in terms of overall durability, hands down, the Saucony Endorphin Pro 3 is the shoe that you should be looking at because they're a little bit less money to begin with, and you're going to be able to get more miles on them. Overall, I love running both of these shoes. I think if I had to choose today which shoe I wanted to run the marathon in, I'd go with the VaporFly Next Percent 3 because I think they're just going to be a faster shoe on foot. And, they're still really comfortable up in the forefoot of the shoe. I'm still getting lots of pop off the toe. And I think I'd stay in my best chance of setting my next personal best in these shoes. If I was basing it on cost alone and what I would expect to get out of a shoe in terms of mileage, the Endorphin Pro 3, hands down, I think is going to be the better, more economical choice. And it's a shoe that you'd only have to buy one of, meaning that you could run some training miles in these, maybe run them up to that 75 miles or so for training to get used to running in them and still take them out on race day and have no issues at all. In fact, they might even run a little bit better for you after putting those 75 miles in. With the VaporFly 3, I think if you run them up to 75 miles, you're almost getting to the end of the race life for these. You might have one in it, but these aren't a shoe that I would want to put more than about 50 miles in before running a marathon, and then they'd probably have to be retired and put into my training rotation. I think if you were going to choose these shoes to run your marathon in, or a 5K, and that's something else I should probably mention real quick, in terms of versatility, I think these are the better option for races. I think you can race 5K up to a marathon. I think these are going to be great for, a little bit longer races, like half marathon up to a marathon distance. But You know, overall, I think these are a really terrific shoe. Again, I think that they're great in terms of versatility. But if I were picking this shoe to be my race shoe in, I would probably buy the Next Percent 2 on sale, because you can pick those shoes up for, I think, around $150 right now. And sometimes you can find them even cheaper than that. So I'd probably buy the earlier version of this shoe to train in, and then use these to race in, because in terms of the overall feel of the ride, they're not significantly different, but these do feel softer and more cushion, and I think they're just better overall shoe, especially on the marathon distances. All right, hey, so that is it for the video today. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it for you. As always, run tall, run strong, be kind to one another. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time, right here on Run Tall with Tim.